I've not found, maybe there is, but I've not found a great shortcut in death care. So I've
Yeah.
not found, there have been a ton of tools that help us do what we do better. There have been a ton of tools that help us reach either groups of people or families specifically, or make the community, take the friction out of the communication. Those things are all awesome and so
Mhm.
helpful and so great, I think, both for us and for families. But I've not yet found a shortcut to not have to, do the work or engage with your community. Even if
Right.
you're an online company, you still have a community. It's not like, oh, we don't really have to care about anyone. They'll find us. Like, no, they really won't. You're going to have to put something in, whether it's, straight marketing online, going to small events to build up a base in one area before you expand.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will come up with a shortcut, but I've not yet figured it out.
I think that's one of the biggest takeaways. Absolutely. Because, we talk about how sensitive this business is, how it's a relationship business, how it's a human business. And you can't take any shortcuts in human businesses. It's not, DTC, a small box of a small product that's made in plastic. This is a service with a customer journey that's a bit long. It's a high order value. It's very sensitive. So I don't think our customer is close to being ready for that. So we can't be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you look at trends that have happened in other industries. And we all like to think we're super unique and special. And I think that we are unique and special, but you can't, bury your head in the sand. So, look at things like healthcare. There has been sort of an industrialization and like a standardization. And some might say that the quality of healthcare has gone down or it's gone up or, but I still think death care is a little bit different because you don't necessarily have the margins that you have in healthcare. So, you're not getting billions of dollars per year in revenue and then taking that and going, hey, everyone has to fit into our system. There's always going to be a competitor who is more nimble, more flexible, reaches the consumer in a more effective way.
Yeah.
So, we have an online brand also. So you see, you do sort of, for lack of better terms, scoop up more market share in a wide range, but you also see in certain areas. We noticed with Omega Society for sure, like the area where you guys were serving families, we just couldn't break into. You guys had such good on the ground to the consumer marketing between reputation, between things that you were doing.
Yeah.
And so you sort of go, well, it's not really worth my time at this point
Right.
to dive into that
Exactly.
market. But that just sort of goes to show like there's not a shortcut in that area. So you can be really successful. You don't have to have massive amounts of funeral homes or case counts or, you can be successful and people will pay for more unique service. There's been this sort of bifurcation. Probably more than the last 10 years, but certainly I've noticed it in the last 10 years where we've been thinking it's a race, like let's just put the cheapest price out to market. I think we really did ourselves a disservice because you're seeing now there's a huge shortage in death care workers. There's or folks who are willing to either be counselors or be crematory operators or be transportation drivers, where you used to kind of have this bench. We found a little bit, we've sort of gone, hey, we've got to raise these prices because we've got to pay people as much of a as livable wage as we can in Southern California. And families are willing, when you can explain it, and that's a tricky part. I know people always say, like, explain your value. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean? So you do have to really work on it. Sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to cuss on here. You guys can cut that out. But it can be frustrating as you're training people and explaining. But families are willing. If you can explain, like, hey, there's going to be a person who answers the phone every time, or whatever your value is in your company, it doesn't necessarily have to be the least expensive or the most accessible online. I think those things are helpful sometimes, but there is just such a wide market. I think I started this by going, we've got to watch trends in other businesses, but we also have to remember we're not other businesses or industries, I should say.
I think what you touched on, I kind of want to double click into, which is the disservice that we did with this race to the bottom. We've talked about that trend 15 years and how that was the cult of cremation business. It's like, I have to figure out how to put the least expensive price on a website. And by getting the lowest price in your market, you will get the most cases. That was the levers, and that's how it operated in. And now after that race, I want to see how you feel about this, but I realized that we could have probably charged another $200 to $300 and been fine. Maybe even more, but to just hold out for that 700 mark, and out of fear that, if we go to 995, we're going to go from 4,000 families to 2,500. That was the wrong way to think about it. And I was interested to see kind of like how you contemplate that fear of managing that and what you guys do.
So I would agree with you on that. And now I'm speaking a little more. Most of my background is in traditional funeral homes. So I just got into the online company probably 3 years ago. So right in the middle of the
Okay.
pandemic, which was a great time to jump in.